everyone, me again. Welcome back to xameliax. Today we are talking about the contraceptive pill and what it is like after being off it for an entire year. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amelia and we film all kinds of videos here on this channel, everything from beauty to fashion. We used to travel and we throw some lifestyle vlogs in there as well. So if you like my face, if you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button. Stick around for a while. Last year, I filmed a video talking about my decision to come off the pill after being on it for 10 years. And it turns out I'm not the only one having those thoughts, and me sharing my experience is actually really quite helpful. And a lot of you have asked for an updated video talking about any other symptoms or changes that my body went through and how the whole experience has affected me in general. So if you haven't seen the original video, I'd highly recommend going and watching that one first. It just gives you a bit of background into why I decided to come off the pill that I was on, how I felt while I was on it, and of course the changes that happened to my body immediately within the first 3 months of coming off there. Because I'm sitting here now after a whole year of being off the pill, and you might notice a few differences. We're in a different room because we bought a house over the last year. I also went blonde and we got engaged, so it's actually been quite an exciting 12 months. But it's also been wonderful for me going through this experience coming off the pill and finding my natural cycle again. I have to say it has been hands down the best decision I have made for my body in, well, like ever. And while some things have taken a bit of getting used to, aka getting my period back after not having one for an entire decade, overall it's been an amazing experience and I can't really think of any negatives that have come my way. I'm going to talk through some of the other changes that have happened to my body over the last 12 months and answer as many of your questions from the original video as I can. Of course, again, I'm not a doctor, this is literally just my experience and my thoughts on the process, but I think it's really important to open up these conversations and talk about these things because there is still, for some reason, a lot of taboo surrounding female bodies and menstruation in society today, which shouldn't be a thing. We are a no shame zone. We don't do shame around here. So much so, I even wrote a book on it. I just want you to know that this is a safe space with no judgment, guilt or shame because this is completely normal and it's completely natural. So we're just going to talk about it until people get on board. Okay, so I got my period back quite quickly after coming off the pill. It pretty much happened straight away. However, it did take about the first probably 6 or 7 months for it to even itself out and become more of a regular thing. Now, my periods were never regular, even before I went on the pill in my late teens, early 20s. So I don't actually have a cycle that works like clockwork. I wish I did. It would be a lot easier. But I have been tracking it using a period tracking app called Flow. I highly recommend it. I think it's really easy to use. I like the user interface. I do have the premium version, but only because it was on offer like a couple of months ago and I just bought it. I don't think you need the premium version. The free one's just fine, but the premium's quite nice because it gives you some extra insights and stuff. So I'm happy I bought it, but you don't need it. But whether you use Flow or a different app to track your cycle, I would highly recommend tracking it because sometimes it just feels like it's more irregular than it actually is. But it's also useful to keep an eye on that so you can see how your cycle sort of forms after coming off the pill for the next year or so. And then if there are any issues, whether it is very, very irregular or whatever, which could indicate an underlying problem, you can then take that to your doctor and have a chat through. I would say it took around 6 to 7 months for my body to find its flow with my periods again, but now they come every month and they're pretty easy for me, I have to say. I haven't found that I've had anything particularly too uncomfortable. I do feel very lucky in that regard. But yeah, they're a breeze for me. I find that personally, I find my period quite cathartic because the week before my period, I do feel quite grumpy and a little bit tired and lethargic and snappy and hungry. So when it comes, it's kind of like, it's a big sort of physical and also mental and emotional release for me. The start of a new cycle, I really like it. I think it really helps the fact that I found period pants because they are genuinely a game changer. It's a proper breeze to use them. I've done so many videos on them. I've tested all the different varieties. So yeah, if you'd like to know more about those, definitely check out my videos. I will leave the links down below. But yeah, for me personally, having got my periods back, they really don't bother me at all. And yeah, I really like the cyclical nature of it all. I do realise I'm speaking from a position of menstrual privilege there, I suppose, because A, I have access to products, but also B, that I don't suffer from any underlying conditions that can make periods worse. So as a little side note, bearing in mind, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm just sort of putting this information out here because a lot of people don't know this stuff. I didn't know this stuff until a couple of years ago. But if you do find that you're feeling wary about coming off the pill because the pill is the only thing that helps you with your crippling cramps or your super heavy flow, and you've never had those things investigated, definitely do delve into that a little bit further and push for that with your GP, because it could be symptoms of, and I'm not saying it is, but it could be symptoms of polycystic ovary syndrome or endometriosis, which are both massively underdiagnosed, especially here in the UK. I feel like a lot of the time we're just sort of told, that's just a period, get on with it. But your period should not be causing you that much pain, sickness, and shouldn't be like crazy heavy, you know? So if your periods are like that, or your pill is the only thing that is stopping your periods from being like that, and nobody's investigated, like gone further with it, please do push for it. Sometimes we've got to be an advocate for our own menstrual health in this situation. So yeah, I will leave some information down below that could be quite helpful for you for finding the right doctor to talk to. But yeah, it's just a little side note. Do with that information what you will. I don't want to scaremonger anybody, but these things just aren't talked about enough, and often we just kind of plug on thinking that's just what a period is, and it's not always. So look after yourself. Period sorted after about 6 or 7 months. Another thing I noticed was hair growth. I've always had like these little bits here on both sides of my hairline where I just didn't have any hair growing, and when I put my hair up it made me a little bit self-conscious. I noticed when I came off the pill it started to grow back. I started to get hair growth again in those 2 little bald patches there. Coincidence? Maybe, but I genuinely think it's to do with getting my own hormones back and everything, and I'm really pleased about that because I'm not self-conscious when I put my hair up anymore. Bloating was the huge one for me. Oh my goodness. So I just kind of felt like a human blimp when I was on the pill, and I was just constantly walking around bloated. My face, my tummy, even if I just ate the tiniest thing, my tummy would blow up. I was really concerned that I had some like serious digestion problems since coming off the pill. Sorted. The only time I get bloated is now, like just when I'm due on my period, and my face gets a little bit puffy and everything just feels a little bit bigger, a bit bloated, and then when my period comes it all just goes away. So for the majority of the month I'm not bloated anymore, and it feels amazing. It's so much more comfortable. My skin has also really cleared up. I used to permanently have breakouts all around my mouth and my chin. Some of them would be really quite sore, and it would just be a consistent cycle of that. Now the only time I really get those is, again, like now, just before my period, and even then nowhere near as bad as they were before. But for me, the rest of the month my skin is glowing, and I have always been acne prone. I had severe acne when I was a teenager. I was on Roaccutane twice, and I've never had good skin. And when I came off this pill, wow, I can't believe it, especially around like time of when my ovulation would be. Really glowy, just glowy. And so many people have said it as well. It's amazing. I know it doesn't always work that way for people in different pills. Can cause different things with skin issues, but for me, and my pill was the mini pill Cerezette, remember, for me it's cleared up my skin so much. It's amazing. As far as my mood goes, I said this in the first video and I'll still stick by it. Oh, I am so much happier at just a base level. I feel like when I was on the pill, my happiness was there. When I'm off the pill, my happiness is here. When I'm the week before my period, it probably dips a little bit and I get quite snappy and hangry and a little bit short-tempered. But it's not drastic. But yeah, for me, like the majority of the time throughout the month, apart from when I'm premenstrual, it's like I've unlocked a whole new level of happiness. Everything just feels a bit brighter. Yeah, it's amazing. Like looking back on how I felt before, it kind of just felt like I had like this grey haze, grey cloud around me. That's the only way I can describe it. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's true. I just genuinely feel so much happier. and yeah, of course you get the wave, you get the wave of hormones, but it's just you just up there instead of there. Well, in fact, I was just kind of like before, and now I'm just kind of floating up here. Libido, said it before, I'll say it again, the difference between being on the pill and being off it is just astronomical. I spent the last 10 years of my life feeling like there was something wrong with me because I was never interested in sex, and now I actually have a libido. It's incredible. And again, like the majority of things, it goes with my hormones. So as you would expect, around like in the spring and summer of my cycle, if you haven't read Period Power, by the way, I will leave a link to that book down below. Definitely do. She talks about how your cycle is sort of split into seasons, and sort of spring summer is around sort of like ovulation time, and then autumn winter is more menstruation time. So as you would expect, around ovulation time, my libido goes through the roof, which is great. I mean, we're not trying to start a family right now, but for me, I found it really comforting knowing that, like feeling that, and sort of knowing that it's working the way you would expect it to work, if that makes sense. Week before my period, not interested, but the rest of the month, game on. Never used to have that before, so I am chuffed. And I just feel so much more secure and confident and empowered in myself. For me, it's been a game changer. It's been a life changer, really, coming off this pill. And I'm just kicking myself. I should have done it 10 years ago. It's been brilliant. I find so much comfort in the cyclical nature of it, that regularity of knowing that, you know, you're going to be feeling a certain way during that part of the month, and that different. And for me, I kind of mold my lifestyle around it, so I know that I feel super confident and look really glowy during my like ovulation kind of phase. So that's when I will make loads of plans with my friends and go out and you know, just wear that new outfit that I was a little bit concerned about. And then I know that my energy levels are going to be dropping the week before my period, and I just want to eat pasta and sit in my pants, so I do that. And I like, you know, mold my lifestyle and my work week around that, and it's worked wonders for me, my productivity, and that guilt has gone. I think that guilt and that shame that I was holding because I just kind of felt like there was something wrong with me with my libido. I also felt that there was something wrong with me because I was tired and bloated and miserable all the time. It wasn't me, it was the pill. And so that guilt and that shame around all of that has just gone, and I just feel so much more confident and like me. I love it. So of course, because we're not trying for a family right now, we would like children in the future, which is actually another thing that I wanted to mention. So a few months ago, I actually did an at-home fertility test thing. It's like a menstrual health, fertility health blood test that you can do at home with a company called Fertility, and it was amazing because I'll be honest, there was a little part of me that was worried about had I done any damage? Have I got any eggs left? Am I suffering from any underlying conditions because my period's not completely regular? So I've done a whole video on this, and I will leave a link down below. Highly recommend it if any of those things you're thinking about as well. That really helped me understand that everything was kind of like ticking along as it should do, and my hormones were where they needed to be. So I highly recommend that. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, so because we're not trying for a family now, but we want to in the future, we are using contraception. Everybody always asks, what do we do about that? And we're actually using organic condoms at the moment, which, before you go, ugh, I've got a whole blog post about it down below, so do check that out. Turns out condoms aren't as disgusting as they used to be. They've come a long way. And yeah, I've done a lot of research into that and all the good things and the bad things and all that kind of jazz. But being on the pill is not the only form of contraception out there. There are so many different methods, which I detail in that blog post down below, so check that out. Don't feel like you have to. So many people have said, well, I have to be on the pill because I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby. I've been off the pill for the last year, still haven't got a baby. There are other options out there, okay? So don't feel trapped on the pill if you're miserable just because you think that's the only option. it's not. There's so many different things, and 100% recommend Hanks. They're the condoms that we use. They've got no nasties in them. They don't smell. They actually smell like baby powder. They're actually really quite nice. And yeah, of course they're effective and everything. So yeah, that's that. And like I mentioned before, I've gone completely sustainable with my periods. That was one of the things I wanted to make sure I was going to do if I was going to start having periods again. Really big fan of period pants, love my menstrual cup, and I've done loads of videos and blog posts on all of that, how to wash them, how you know how many you need, which ones are the best. I'll leave loads of links, so please do have a rummage in my information box because there's loads of other stuff that you can go off on a million different tangents with. But yes, I think that's it. Sorry if I've rambled. I've got so much information. I've learned so much over the last year. Highly recommend that Period Power book, and also my book on beating your repressed shame and guilt if you do feel that about anything to do with your menstruation or anything in general. It's a pretty good book if I do say so myself. But yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. If it has, please do give it a giant thumbs up and leave me a comment down below, even if it's just a little heart emoji. But that interaction with this video will help it get seen by more people. I just want to help get rid of all the stigma around these conversations, and also give this information that I've learned to other people, because quite frankly, I shouldn't have been 33 before I found out all this stuff about my own body. I feel like our education system has drastically let us down, but never mind, we're getting there now, so it's fine. But yeah, please feel free to send this to any of your friends that you think it might help, and if you've got any questions, leave them down below. I will do my best to help. And yeah, I hope this has been helpful. I really do. Of course, everyone's different. This is just my experience, but yeah, hopefully it's been helpful if you're thinking about making the move as well. For me, best thing I ever did. Anyway, I'm gonna go now because just shut up. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.